period when the bow and arrow and the spear ruled supreme spans 2,000 years from 1500 BC. It was a colourful time in every sense, and it's certainly one of the most popular wargaming periods. We are going to look at Chalons-sur-Marne. It's not a very well-known battle, but the name Attila the Hun should ring quite a few bells. It was in 451 AD. The Roman Empire was stretched. It just didn't have the legions to keep it together, and so had to look to its allies when trouble arose. Attila the Hun was just such trouble. He'd been laying siege to Orleans, and he'd been forced to retire. He didn't stop to fight until he was south of Paris, near Chalons. There he faced an allied Roman army led by Aetius. Aetius, last of the Romans, supported by Theodoric, with his Visigoths, among others. There. The two armies faced each other. Romans here, Visigoths here on the right, the Alans, another tribe, here in the center. Theodoric's son, Thorismond, occupied this small hill there, right of the main line of battle. Attila watched the Roman preparations and realized that the Alan center was the weakest point, so he put himself opposite them, here, with his Ostrogoths here and his poorest troops facing the Romans. He planned to advance his line until contact was made along the entire front, when his center cavalry would smash through the enemy center and swing left onto the Visigoth rear. When the Alans fled in disorder at his first charge, and Theodoric was killed, his plan seemed to be working. Attila, expecting the Visigoths to break too, was collecting his forces when young Thorismond charged him from the hilltop, hurling the Huns back. There was no pursuit. But the next day, when Attila saw the enemy dispersing, he feared a trap and stayed where he was for a few days before breaking camp. What he hadn't realized was Aetius had persuaded Thorismond to leave for immediate coronation in the traditional Roman principle of divide and rule. The Huns and the Visigoths would not threaten Rome because they would be watching each other.
So, what have we got? On the left are the Huns, they're blue, and on the right are the Romans, they're red. The Romans are deployed as they were historically, that is, infantry in the center supported by their barbarian allies. At the top on the hill are the Visigoth cavalry, and at the bottom right, the Roman cavalry. The Huns are almost all mounted, as you can see, and it's their mobility that will count. The Roman weak point is that center. The Huns, on the other hand, have a very strong left flank, in spite of the fact that their discipline comes nowhere near that of the Romans.
You'll start moving on the right, will you, Bob?
Yeah.
That's fine. You to remain stationary. They're not moving forward under orders at the moment.
Come up and have a look at you.
Yep. Slow advance in the centre, I think.
That's Bob O'Brien. He works for the local authority in Worthing. Steve Davidson also comes from Worthing. He's an air traffic controller.
Stuck myself on one of my own spears now.
Yes, it can be a painful experience, to say the least.
You'll see Steve moving shorter distances, and that's because he's travelling over rough ground and he's got to be sure that the ones at the back can keep up. Bob, on the other hand, has mounted troops who travel faster.
Ah. Yes. He's already moved to there, so they can do that.
Yes, leave that as it is.
Now the Goths are swinging towards the centre.
I've got an idea that Steve will be trying to tempt Bob into that weak Roman centre so that his own strong cavalry flanks can run a pincer movement.
Yeah, well, it's 2 units actually. They've
Yes, it's a very large size.
yeah. Out to here, half a move, and then
They're coming full forward, aren't they?
deploying into line, or a double line there.
Right.
That will be that's right. We can just about do that with half a move.
That's fine. Your chaps are so mobile.
Yeah.
They really are.
And this lot, straight forward.
Bob and Steve wargame together quite a lot, so in spite of the fact that Bob is renowned for his involved scheming and his last-ditch stands, I don't think that Steve is going to be fooled by all this manoeuvring.
through these temporarily. Shift a bit to one side. Right, now we've got initial reactions.
During the Ancients period, there were relatively few regular elite armies, so that troop discipline couldn't be taken for granted, and it is in fact reflected in the rules. Reaction tests have to be taken by any units close enough to charge to see if they'll obey orders.
You'll start on your left.
3 average dice for this.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes, that's 16. They have an unfriendly flank, of course.
Yes. They'll just about be all right, I think.
I should imagine so,
Yes.
yes.
16.
5 on that. There are factors against them, the unfriendly
Yeah.
cover and the flank is open to them.
Yes, there is unfriendly cover there, isn't there? Right.
Yes, it would survive that.
And the bow armed off, that's it. It'll only just get them in, actually. Keep throwing like that.
Ooh.
Oh. Well, that's only 6, but I shall have to add on for flanks there.
You
So
can
I
add
can build
on
those
factors,
up.
yes.
And I've got nothing against me. There's no...
On those throws, both Bob's units will charge in. Factors affecting it for and against are set out on that chart of Steve's.
Yes.
Like unfriendly cover, for instance, is bad. And that's got a points value. The dice throw together with the points determine the reaction.
The other Goth, I don't think they're within range. Those Huns,
Right.
straight behind them. Well, 8 is fair enough with
Quite acceptable.
2 flanks,
Yes, they will-
so there's not much against
They will obey
them.
orders there quite
Yes.
happily.
And I'd better do the extreme flank unit.
Uh-huh.
It's the first within
Yeah, that's acceptable as well.
14.
They have
pull
the
them
unfriendly
down.
flank, of course.
They've got an
so-
unfriendly flank, haven't they? So,
Yes, that makes them
now,
less
if you've got
brave.
anything, your Roman
Oh.
units won't need to test, will they? Because they've got
Exactly, the regular
Sir with
units
them,
are
yes.
much more suitable. These barbarian-type Goths, of course, they'll need...
yes, you'll have
Jump
to
on
have
the
because you've
testing
got
there.
people within charge reach there.
That's right. Okay, the first unit on the crest of the hill. Perfectly normal throw, I think that one, Bob. Shall we
Yes,
go
you've got
through it?
commander there and your uphill, which
Indeed,
is up or down.
indeed. And
Yep, I'll
secondly,
allow
only
that.
that unit on the hill.
Yeah. I'd like those to go in our control. Oh,
Not
no.
on that throw. They'll just about obey orders this time.
Hmm.
Yes, being sensible. Lastly, these chaps, I think, we better see how brave or not they feel.
No,
Acceptable, I think.
yeah, no trouble there.
Fine,
So
well,
we'll
sensible.
do our compulsory moves first.
These chaps will purely countercharge, Bob. They're not
Yep.
prepared to go hurtling off into
No. Well, we
Yeah,
shall actually
blue.
meet you. The distance is 16.
your move is
We'll
about
be a bit faster than you.
50% greater
So
than mine.
we should be just up there. We won't be able to change formation not without getting disorganised.
Uh-huh.
So we won't want to do that. And you'll come down the hill,
Storming off the hill, yeah.
unfortunately.
That's right.
Now, any other charges to declare?
I have none.
Yes, I have 2.
2. Oh,
Those
the gods, where
there,
are they?
not against the centre, as you might have thought, but swinging into there, and these coming forward straight into there.
Good Lord.
Well, that's shaken Steve. He was expecting a charge at his weak allied centre, but Bob's turning his Goths straight into the cream of his Roman infantry.